Hi, I'm John, and welcome back to Dice Paper Miniatures. In this episode, we're going to look at the previews that we saw this Sunday for next Saturday's pre-order. All right, let's begin. All right, so we're back with another episode, and this time, probably to no surprise, we have the announcement for next Saturday's pre-order, which includes the new Echoes of Doom box set that has half Sylvaneth and half Skaven. Let's go ahead and check that out. So here is everything in that box set. Now I've done a couple videos on this, and one of the last videos I did, there was a preview image that it was a little difficult to see what was all included on the Skaven side. On the far right side, I believe it was, of that preview image, couldn't tell if it was a figure or a piece of terrain. Well, this clarifies everything. And no surprises, I guess it was nothing. So this is everything that comes in the new box. Now, if you stay to the end of the video, I'll have some links for those review videos that I mentioned just a moment ago in regards to what's all in this box, kind of a price breakdown. So if you're curious about that kind of thing, definitely consider checking out those videos. But yeah, those links will be later on in this particular episode. That all said, I do think this is a decent box set. I think if you're a Sylvaneth player, it probably rewards you more than the Skaven player, but you know, it is what it is. It has all the typical stuff. I think if you're a Sylvaneth player in particular, it's definitely worth picking up. Skaven, if you needed to fill in some of your army, then sure. The new model, the Deathmaster, is a pretty sweet looking sculpt. And here's a better shot of the specific armies in this box set. Yeah, we got the Stormbell, the Deathmaster, and we have Clan Rats and Storm Vermin. What I didn't realize when I made that video was that it's only half of a box of the Storm Vermin. The actual retail box for those, I believe, is 20 models, but we only get 10 in this one. Not a huge deal breaker, but a thing to be aware of. And this is the Sylvaneth half as well. So it has some new models in this one. It has a unit of the Gossamed Archers, and then also has the new Lady of Vines. Yeah, based on the reaction of my previous videos, for the most part, this seemed to be pretty favorable for most of the Sylvaneth players. Although the Kurnoth maybe could have been the new models, those insect riders, but they thought otherwise. So that's it for the Echoes of Doom box. Now for 40K, I wasn't expecting this, but it should be of no surprise. We had that dual box with the Genestealers and the Custodes a few months back now, and the Custodes needed a start collecting, and I don't think they ever got one, so they finally got a combat patrol. And I have to admit, I think this box set's kind of decent. So typically these combat patrols cost $150. I believe that's the standard. So I think if we look at the value of what's in this box, so let's see, we get, I believe it's just one. So it's one of the Virtus Praetors for $60, and then a Custodian Guard Squad for 60, so that's 120. They also throw in 2 of the Vigilator Squad, which can also be made into the Witch Seeker Squad, so essentially 110. So the 110 and the 120, it's a 230 value. I believe that's everything in the box. Yeah, so, I mean, a 230 value for 150, honestly, if you're just trying to get into Custodes for the first time, this is probably a sweet deal. Because you, like I said, you can make a Witch Seeker squad or a Vigilator squad, or a Prosecutor squad as well, technically. So there's 3 different options: Vigilators, Witch Seekers, and the Prosecutors. So obviously there's a few other units that aren't included in this box, but I do think it's a good starting point. Yeah, and probably just by the sheer merit, there's just not that many unique units in this particular army. So I do think it's a favorable box set. Yeah, so like an $80 value. Now, speaking of that dual box I mentioned with the Custodes and the Genestealers, what's really nice is we finally get the Blade Champion as an individual character model. Now, typically these things go for around $38. However, just for comparison, the Captain General Trajan Valoris, Trajan goes for 42. So it's either going to go for 38 or 42 for the Blade Champion. It'll probably be 42, but there could be an argument for 38. It's definitely a good looking model. And then speaking of the Genestealer half, we have the Reductus Saboteur. So Genestealer players are a little bit more fortunate. The cost of their stuff isn't quite as much. Let's see. If we go to their character models, I think they're around $32. Yeah, so I doubt it would be the 42 price point. It's going to be comparable to like the Magus or the Abominant. Again, the Nexos, the Locust, the Clamavus, or even the Kellamorph. They're all in that 32 price range. So I think it's a fairly good assumption that this would be 32. So typically, if I do play 40k, I run a Genestealer army more often than not. Guess I'm a glutton for punishment. But I just like their sculpts, and they kind of do dual purpose, almost triple purpose now, which I guess is you can say for a lot of armies from 40k, but not every 40k army can be in Necromunda. So not only can you play 40k, you can do Kill Team, and you can do Necromunda with Genestealers, technically. So that's kind of where I'm coming from, which is why I play Genestealers typically. Now, another kind of surprise one that came about in this Sunday preview, I was hoping this would happen. Prior to the new Norse Blood Bowl team that was just released, I was converting the Darko Scavengers into my own Norse team. Bit of a bummer because they've changed the lineup now. So the models I had created, a thrower and a catcher, if you know anything about Blood Bowl, that's been kind of like merged into one Valkyrie positional. So it is what it is. I was going to get another box so I can have a full team of legends, if you will, Norse team. Now it seems maybe unnecessary, of course. I might just finish them for my own personal benefit since I did start the conversions already. But initially, I was looking forward to this because I wanted to get a second warband to fill out that Norse team. That being said, if you really like this Darko Scavengers and you bought the Red Harvest, this gives you the opportunity now to really kind of customize your Darko Scavenger warband. And the same holds true for the Tarantulos Brood. Now that we have the new Necromunda Ashwaste Nomads, and they kind of have this buggy theme, I kind of want to like do some kit bashing with these guys with my Ashwaste Nomads. So I don't play these in Warcry, although I think the Spider build is probably one of the best builds out there right now, especially if it's just a Warcry-centric warband. But that being said, I think some of the hooded elements with like the spider legs could look really cool because I'm not completely sold on the giant flea motif with and the flea bits they're wearing on their garb. I mean, it's okay. I like everything else about the look of those. But I think maybe replacing some of those flea bits with spider bits, I think would be more my cup of tea, if you will. So, yeah, I'm happy to see they finally, I was getting a little nervous, I have to admit. I'm happy to see they finally released these warbands individually. I assumed it had to happen, but typically they come out sooner when they have a box set like Catacombs. I think their warbands came out quite sooner, but I understand pandemic, shipping delays, etc. And of course, the Ravaged Lands scenery. Now, if those individual warbands, I believe they're either going to be 55 or 60. The stuff out of Catacombs is 60, but the other Warcry specific warbands are 55. They're probably going to be 60. I can't imagine they'd be more than that. So assuming that's the case, that's 120 combined. And then terrain, let's see if I have a terrain link here. From a terrain cost standpoint, I'd imagine it's going to be something comparable to the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Extremis Edition, that Realmscape expansion set, because it looks like it's a physical board, not a folded piece of paper. But what's interesting, they're making two separate kits. So if they are 100 apiece, this is where the value of the Red Harvest box set comes in, because if those warbands are 60 and 60, that's 120. half of the terrain may be another 100. So there's your 220, which I believe was the original cost of Red Harvest. But they split the terrain into 2 expansions of terrain. We have the Varanite Siphon Camp and the Pit Dredger Camp. I'm not surprised. That seems like standard operating procedure as far as GW goes. But being the fact they split it in 2, it may not be the full 100. It may actually be like that 60 price point. And if it is 60, then 120 and 120, 240. I mean, it's a little bit of a savings if you got them in Red Harvest. Granted, you also get the rules. So it's either around a $20 minus the rule savings, or it's like $100 savings if you got the Red Harvest. So yeah, they're probably going to be around $60 a pop. It's a hard call because even just the maps for Thondia, just the boards were 60. So likely anywhere between 60 to $100. But if you just wanted to kind of get a little extra terrain and not have to buy another Red Harvest or go to eBay, there are options. And options, they may be a little pricey, but overall, I'm glad that we have the option then versus not having the option. I had a video that I posted recently that had a comment about, you can complain about GW and their prices, but the world would be a sadder place without GW. And you know what? Through that lens, I'm going to have to agree. I have a lot of fond memories throughout the last 30 years that has a lot of GW product in those memories. So yeah, it's expensive, but the world would be a sadder place without GW. And then, of course, we have the Black Library stuff that kind of wraps up these Sunday previews. I typically listen to this stuff on Audible. I'm assuming that's still possible even with Warhammer Plus, although I think over time a lot of that stuff will be like a Warhammer Plus exclusive. But for now, I think Audible's still an option. And then we have, this Black Templar's artwork. I believe this is the old John Blanche stuff from like 5th or 6th edition. I dig it. It's pricey. I mean, it goes without saying. I just paid, I think, $29 for that silly Necromunda paper map. I was expecting a little bit more for $29. Gotta be honest. I think these are like around 50 or 70 some bucks. I'll have to look into this. If you know the price of these art prints, please put that in the comments below, because this one is actually one I'd consider picking up. There's an art print in my local Warhammer store. I believe it's the Sisters of Battle that John Blanche did. It's a nice image, but it's just a Sisters of Battle, and I'd prefer having this landscape Black Templars John Blanche piece, honestly. Yeah, I think it's in that 50 to 70 some dollar price point. And then Space Marine key rings, because I guess why not? Not for me, but someone out there that's a diehard fan may find these interesting. And then some Warhammer Plus news. Yeah, some new White Dwarfs in the vault. I think I kind of spoke ad nauseum on that in my last Sunday preview episode, so I'm not going to go into that, but it is what it is. I am looking forward to seeing the next Interrogator episode, I will admit. The animation it's not bad. It's just, again, I don't want to sound redundant, but I just wish there was more content. So we're getting there. It's just a very slow process. But yeah, that's it for this Sunday preview. Definitely looking forward to the some of that Warcry stuff, mostly because I want to use it for kit bashing materials, whether it's for Blood Bowl or for Necromunda. And then yeah, I really wanted this Saboteur when that box set came out that had the Custodes and the Genestealers, but I didn't want to go through the trouble, which is kind of ironic because I don't know why this time around I didn't want to do it, but in the past I bought in these dual box sets just for the character models and then just sold the rest of it. I've just been busy lately, so I didn't want to mess with it, but I do like this Saboteur, so I'll probably pick that up. Now, technically, I run a Custodes kill team. Not so much lately, but when it first came out, probably like everyone, I mean, they were just so OP. Why wouldn't you run them every now and then? I don't think the Blade Champion, that being said, I don't think he's in any of the Custody builds right now. He may find himself in one of those White Dwarf bespoke kill teams, We'll see. Or one of those expansion box sets. But if they do the expansion box set, then this model actually may be in it if they do a custom one, but we might just get all new sculpts anyways. I'd imagine for the Custodes that would be the case. I can't think of like an upgrade sprue that would work for these models. So yeah, I may pick one up because it is a cool sculpt. I don't think I could. I mean, sure, I guess you could just use it as a proxy model for one of your other guardians or wardens, I guess, sure. But yeah, I do think this Combat Patrol box set is decent. What do you think of this Combat Patrol box? And then, yeah, to wrap it up is that Echoes of Doom box set. This one's not for me, but I know there's a lot of Sylvaneth that were excited for it and some Skaven players. So, that being said, that's it for this one. And if you've enjoyed this content and haven't yet, please consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and sharing this content with your friends. It really does help with the growth of the channel, and it's greatly appreciated. Well, that's it for this one. As always, I hope you're all doing well, be safe, take care, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.